Yes, good morning and welcome to OGTV, the People's Telly. This is the roundtable, and today we're looking at a critical topic. But it's a very known that if poverty is to be eradicated, effective food security must stand in the gap. Food security is having reliable access to enough safe and nutritious food to live a healthy life. And this is also based on 4 key pillars: accessibility, availability, utilization, and stability. It is on that note that I'm welcoming you to another beautiful episode of your darling program, Roundtable on OGTV. My name is Moreni KJ Shobaloju, and my co-presenter is also in the studio with me, Doyinsola Ogunbadewa. Good morning, Doyin.
Good morning. You're welcome to the program today, and I welcome everyone watching People's Telly at this time. You know that in Nigeria, we know that food security is responsible for a lot of things, and then we have to talk about it. It's a very important topic because without food, a nation cannot thrive. So we are going to thrash this issue this morning. Doyinsola Ogunbadewa is my name. Welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you so much, Doyinsola. And of course, you know how we do on the program. We're not going to do this alone. We have a resource person, somebody in a key position to talk to us about the effect of food security, especially in Nigeria, and talking about what the state is also doing to ensure adequate food security. But before I let you meet our guest on the show today, we'll quickly go for this short break, and when I return, the guests shall be introduced. Yes, glad to have you join us again on the roundtable. Like I said before we went for that short break, we're looking at food security in Nigeria, the causes, the effects, and of course the impact on the growth of any nation. And today I have joining us on the studio on the conversation the consultant to the Ogun State Governor on Agriculture, like I said earlier, somebody in the key position to talk about the topic today, Prince Wale Oyekoya. Join us as we welcome in the studio this morning, Prince Wale Oyekoya. Good morning, Prince.
Good morning.
Yes,
Good
nice having you join us.
Nice to
Yes, we'll quickly begin. Can you, briefly tell us the current state of food security in Nigeria and your own understanding of food security?
Well, I believe food and shelter is the responsibility of the government to provide to its citizens. And at the same time, it is the responsibility of the citizen also to pay their taxes. Because without taxes, some of these food security we are talking about will not be able to play its role. So the government has its own role, the citizen have its own role. And the parents at home also, they have their own role to be able to encourage their children to be able to participate in the food security of the nation. Because without food, there's something most of us can do. Food is essential to human development. Everybody knows that all over the world. But a nation that cannot feed its own people does not worth its name. And that is why Nigeria, and especially Ogun State, where I belong, they are doing all their possible best to make sure that people does not go to the bed hungry, or starvation does not really comes in. As I said, there are so many things that takes its place in terms of food security to the nation, where the citizens and the government have to play their own role. The government, in their own space, to provide the land for the citizen to plant, and at the same time to provide all other enabling environments. Because without any enabling environment, there's nothing we can do because farmers are really going through a whole lot, especially not only because of the fault of the government, but even natural disasters like the climate change that we have all over the world. So it's not only in Nigeria, it's all over. Now it's left for the government and the citizens to sit down with the problem that we're having all over the world. How do we go about it?
Okay. You know, I said it earlier during my introduction that when you're talking about food security, and before you can say this is a justified statement that a country or a nation is secured in terms of food security, we're talking about this is based on 4 key pillars, which is availability, accessibility, utilization, and stability. But taking Nigerian context, for example, now, can you tell us how this food security, talking about availability now, how available is this food security, how available is food to the people, and what is the current state of this food security compared to what we used to have previous years, especially now in Nigeria? What can you say?
I think there's a lot of improvements in terms of food security, in terms of food on the table of average Nigerians. And it's not a hiding in any way that if you go to the market now, the food is available, and at the same time, the prices are coming down. And that is why the president of the country, Ahmed Tinubu, was saying that this is the first time that during the Ramadan season and during the Lent, that a lot of food are available at affordable rates. Because a lot of farmers now, they will have some of this food material, but they have it in abundance. And now the demand and supply is playing around here. The farmers are complaining that they are not making much money, but the consumers are smiling. That because the prices are lower. If you look at the price of rice now, go to the market, it's about 65, not more than 70,000. Compared to about 3 months ago, that is very close to 100,000 per 50 kg. So these are part of the proactive that the government have taken both in the federal and the state level, that the price of food must come down, regardless of what the farmers are going through. Especially when you talk of the herders and farmers, it's now reducing. It's not like before where farmers just go to the farm and they're being beheaded by the herders. And if you look at the Boko Haram that is really affecting the Northeast, it's really coming down. So that means the government is doing something. Because if the government is not doing something, this time of last year, everybody's complaining that food is very expensive or it's not even available. We depend mostly on the foreign food, especially the rice. But that trend now is being reduced due to the proactive measures of the government and the farmers.
All right, sir. You said government is doing something. That is why we can say we have availability of food. But when food is available and we cannot access it, because talking about roads, infrastructures that leads to farms, for farmers to transport goods into town, to markets, you know, it's not all the roads that are good. Now, let's talk about the factors that are affecting food availability in the country, especially in Ogun State.
Yeah, definitely farmers are having a problem of post-harvest loss. There's no doubt about it. This thing has been around for so long. And yes, all the roads to the farms cannot be tied overnight. The road wasn't built a day. But if you look at the trend of what the federal government and state government are doing now, they are really trying to clear some land to the farm so that they can be bringing the food supply to the market. And was it not just yesterday that we are having a meeting that the Ogun State government, they are really bringing out so many tractors, abundant, to be given to the farmers to be able to use in the farm, and at the same time they are clearing the road that even leads to the farms. And if the government are not really interested in agriculture, all this one will not be happening. Yes, it is true that we are having post-harvest loss, like even almost half of it. And that is why the government, especially the state government, are really plying the road to the rural areas. Because without the roads to the rural area, most of these produce will not be able to come to the market. So we have to give it to the government. But at the same time, personal effort also play itself out. because, as I said, it's like a marriage between the government and the citizen to be able to provide food and for the food security to be sustained. Okay. Without the government input and without the citizen input, we can't sustain the food security in the country.
All right, let's now talk about citizens' input.
Yes.
You said governments are already doing what they're supposed to do. Sure. So, on the part of the citizens, what can you say? Do you see them performing their responsibilities?
They are trying their best, but the information is not really out there to the citizen. Okay. I'm of the opinion, maybe from where I come from, that there's something they call family farming. If every household, if every family is able to make use of their backyard to plant something, then you'll be able to take care of your nucleus family. And the excess can be taken to the market. That way it's going to reduce the congestion of people going to the market. So the citizen now have to be able to take part from the government, like you see that, yes, we have seed for you, either for the maize or the okra or for anything to go, or vegetable to go and plant in your backyard. So I believe, because I was at the Minister of Agriculture yesterday, and they said they have some of this seed, but they have to bring the information out to the citizen that you can come to the Minister of Agriculture, either through the OGASEP, that takes this seed, go and plant and see what is going to happen. And at the same time, value chain is the main key. We are not really adding value to most of our, what we are doing. But the government have provided the enabling environment, maybe through the clean, there's something we call cane for us, for the fish farmers to be able to smoke some of these fish and sell to the market, or to process some of these farm produce into finished goods. So the government and the citizens, they have a lot to do, because the government cannot do everything. They cannot provide everything. And at the same time, that's why I said that it is the responsibility of the government to provide food and shelter. But what we as a citizen are doing, because most of this road you said we should plow, because the government does not have any business apart from collecting taxes from citizens and be able to put the money back into the use.
Okay, thank you so much. Still talking accessibility. You know, when you're saying food security, you're talking, like Doyin rightly asked, that you know, the access for farmers to take their food to the market has been a challenge in the past. And of course, on this accessibility, you know, pillar again, you know, we're looking at people being able to afford food in the market. The situation is quite alarming lately, you know, talking about the expensive, you know, rate of food in the market. How do you react to this? And what do you think should be done?
Well, as I say, you are right with what you said, that prices are very expensive now, but I have to let you know that it's not only in Nigeria because of the climate change. It's everywhere in the world. If you go to anywhere, even you can call some of your friends abroad, they will tell you that, wow, food is very expensive. The apple that they used to sell like for $1.99 is almost about $4.99. So it's not only in Nigeria. And if you look at the rainy season that is coming now, most farmers are preparing for it, but they are not in control of the nature of the climate. It could be tomorrow the rain can cease for another 1 month. There won't be no water. What about the farmer that already rushed to the farm to plant this thing? So definitely this is going to affect the yield, the production, because the farmers already have the it in mind that, oh, they are going to have a certain numbers of quantity of harvest coming to the market. But if the rain does not come, which affects most of the food production, there's nothing a farmer or citizen can do. And this is going to affect the price of the goods coming to the market. So that's why I said that it's not only in Nigeria that this is affecting.
Yes, that takes me to this next question, talking about what government is doing, the effort of government. You know, in the past, we've had policies of government, programs of government, affecting, you know, food security in the country. Talking about the interventions, most times, you know, you see governments coming to give farm inputs and all of these things to, you know, support farmers. Like we have seen this government of Prince Dapo Abiodun doing a lot in that regard, you know, supporting farmers across board. But we've had in past years that some governments will not even prioritize agriculture. So what do you think some of the government's key programs and policies that is aimed at improving food security and how effective this has been? Since, you know, talking about, let's take Ogun State, for example, now taking it as a case study, what we have in the interventions. We've had farmers enjoying, farm input from government, different interventions. How's this been in terms of, improvement?
Well, I'm here to attest to it that we have a governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, that has interest in agriculture, or that have passion for agriculture, because when we sit down the round table, we say, how can we bring more food to the people's table? How can we reduce the prices of the table? And this brings to the issue that we just discussed on recently, how some bulldozers are coming to the farm to clear the land so that we can have more expanse of land to plant. He have a lot of passion for it. Recently, millions of naira was released to fix, to repair some of these dozers. And as you can see him going around most of the market, he's trying to build so many markets so that by the time these farm produce are ready in the farm, there'll be a place, there'll be a market for them to sell these goods. So he's doing that in all over senatorial district to build some of these big markets, because he's trying to measure up with France, because he went to France sometime. He saw most of their market and said, okay, yes, this thing can be replicated in Ogun State. And he's doing that to bring so many markets into the shore, so that most of these farmers can be able to take their goods to the farm. And at the same time, storage facilities. He's trying on that on also. The governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, is trying to bring some of these storage facilities into some of these hub or farm settlements in Ogun State, that, okay, this is a farm settlement where young people and women can be able to bring their produce and start production, and at the same time bring electricity into the farm settlements, so that there won't be no much problem. There's a lot of things going on the ground that by the time it's really yield the result, everybody will see for itself.
I can even, lay credence to the fact that recently the governor was at Ashero Market, that the popular Ojagbe to do maybe a lot of upliftment of the infrastructure and every other thing, and that's in a way is quite appreciated. But before we allow you attend to questions from my colleague here, I want to ask, government cannot be seen to have scored 100 in terms of effort, but of course, how can government improve in its approach to food security and agricultural sustainability? What method do you think government should adopt, to ensure sustainability of food security?
I can speak much about Ogun State government, that now they are releasing more farmlands to people, because without farm, without land, there's nothing you can do in terms of agriculture. And at the same time, not just giving you land, it's trying to bring more tractors. We have hundreds of tractors that are being bought, but we don't want to release the tractors for now, because he wants the virgin land to be cleared. That is why he's invested heavily on the bulldozer to clear the land first before we can introduce the tractor. Without clearing the land with all these bulldozers, most of these tractors will not see the end of the day. They are going to get damaged, maybe within shorter period of time, and this costs millions. So now, as I said, with the passion that Governor Dapo Abiodun have on agriculture, is for him to give all the enabling environment to the farmers through the Commissioner of Agriculture and myself as a consultant, that whatever it needs to take for my people to be able to feed itself, go ahead and do it. And at the same time, he's trying to clear some land that leads to the farmlands, so that it will be accessibility for farmers to bring their goods into the town, into the market. So by and large, at the same time, I think he's trying to give us some soft loan to farmers. It might not be much, but it might not be huge, but at least 250,000 here, 500,000, you don't need that much to buy some of this seed, especially when the tractors and the bulldozer is being provided for you, and the land is being given to you at a very subsidized rate. Nothing is free. Even free time is not free nowadays.
Yes, nothing is free.
Nothing is free. So that's why I said that citizen taxation is very important. Pay your taxes. I believe you'll see more, because if you look at the average Nigerians, we don't pay taxes. Average Nigeria, we don't pay taxes. Let us be realistic with ourselves. But without all these taxes, there's nothing much that the government can do, because they are not in the business of anything than to collect tax and at the same time roll it down to the citizens.
All right, you've talked about government preparing farmland for citizens who are interested in agriculture to come farming. Now let's talk about the relationship of the state with the international organization. You know, we need private partnership if you really want to thrive in food security. We cannot do it alone. There are so many things that if we partner, we can achieve. Is Ogun State doing anything on this? Do you have partners in agriculture?
Definitely. The Ogun State governor that I know, Prince Dapo Abiodun, have been to so many countries like in the France, bringing some of these farmers over there to come and bring some of these advanced technology into agriculture, into Ogun State, especially in terms of livestock. And even the federal government, through the president, Tinubu, have went as far back as Brazil, Yugoslavia, to bring livestock processing into Nigeria. So both the state and the federal government, they are trying their best to woo some of these foreign investors. And going through the AFDB bank, you know, it's our son that is over there, Dr. Akinwumi, Additional.
Yeah.
So that man has a real passion for Africa, especially in Nigeria, that agriculture should be able to strive well. And our government are really tapping into the opportunity to really partner with Additional, not only with Additional, even with the World Bank. And there are so many laws that I wanted to give to our country to develop our agriculture, because we have the populations. And if care is not taken, our population should not be a disadvantage, but an advantage for us in terms of human capacity to be able to develop ourselves. With the kind of human capacity, financial capability we have, there's no, and with the young people we have nowadays, there's no reason why Nigeria should be hungry, why the food security should not be able to be improved. And with the technology that we have, that most of the youth of nowadays, they need to be encouraged to use the technology they're having with their hydrophone or anything to be able to do more to promote the food security in the country.
Okay, let's take that aspect that you said that young people can participate, and at the same time we cannot rule out poverty in agriculture, and it's affecting. Now I can afford an Android. There are some people in the rural community that does not even have a phone. So now, if we talk about technology, how far has the states or even Nigeria gone in using this to affect lives and to also create awareness for those in the rural areas to be able to participate in agriculture?
You'll be surprised how many of our youths are really using the Android to control their farm processing.
I know, in the rural area.
Even in the rural, you can't do farming in the urban area anyway. Some of these young people that are very serious minded. I remember when I came back from US, I went to the thick forest and stayed there to do farming. So you don't do farming in the city. You have to go to the rural area. So if these young people are ready to do farming, there's nothing stopping them to go to their village and control the environment through their phone. They can even stay in their house. I know the time to do irrigations from their farm, or to know when to harvest, or to be able to control pests eating their rices in the farm. So there's a lot that the federal government and the state government are doing to really bring the youth, because there's no way you are going to see some of these youth giving them cutlasses and hoe off nowadays to go and be doing farming. So this is why the technology comes in, and that is why the government, both in the state and federal government, are really encouraging the youth.
Okay, before my co-presenter will ask the next question, I just want to ask that is there awareness, is there campaign that is going on for people to really participate in agriculture? Because you mentioned something the other time about backyard farming. Now I'm a tenant, I don't have a house of my own, no space for me to plant. You said there is a farm somewhere that government says it's preparing. Maybe I can't afford, maybe I can, I may not say, but if I am interested in agriculture and I don't have enough space, I don't have enough money to come to governments to come and take the land that they are clearing for me, what is the way out? We need awareness. We need campaign. So what are you doing on this?
Well, there's a lot of information going on. So it's only some people decided not to listen to it. If you go to the Ministry of Agriculture today, there's no information you need that you're first-time farmer that you want to go into farming, either through the hobby or through as a business. Yes, you might be renting a place, but if you look at even the tenants that are doing more, you don't have to have a land now to do farming. You can even put some sand in a sack, in a bag of cement or anything, or plastic, and put yam or potato on it, or even tomatoes or pepper and plant. The only two things that plant need is sunlight and water. It doesn't have to be rain. You can wet it. And once the sunlight is really coming, the rays of the light will come, it's going to germinate. So even if you have a balcony, why can't you make use of your balcony by using a rope, put a string there, and attach maybe some of these pots and plant inside it? You can still harvest tomatoes or pepper on it through your through where you are renting.
You're saying this because you know this.
Yes.
That is why I'm saying that you need to come out, maybe teach people, train them how they can maximize the little space they can find at their disposal.
They say information is key.
Yeah.
If you don't explore, you will not be able to get it. So that's why I'm giving out the information that anyone that is interested in agriculture can go to the Ogun State Ministry of Agriculture. All this information will be given to them, even to the chance of see how you can get it or how you can go about doing this farming. So even the one that I'm doing now is more or less like information given to people. But a lot of people does not know that they can go to the Ministry of Agriculture and get some of this information.
You're right.
Thank you so much, sir. That's so comprehensive. I'm still talking about the role of technology and innovations in improving food security. And in your discussion here, you have talked about precision farming, biotechnology, and digital agriculture to improve food security. But of course, let's look at the smallholder farmers. They need to be supported. Like she asked earlier, she was talking about people having access. Some people are farmers, but they do not have the wherewithal to use the technology. You agree with me that this is not equal, it's not going around as expected, it's not available to everyone. So how much do you think a government should support? Yes, I'm talking about smallholder farmers now, the 6 existing ones. I'm not talking about those that we need to sensitize, educate, and let them see reason why they should go into agriculture. I mean, farmers, I'm talking to you. I have a small farm that I operate myself. I love farming. I do a lot when it comes to farming. But of course, we have some existing smallholder farmers that also want to embrace innovation. Technology advancement is something that we should embrace. It's here with us, and we should accept it. But how do you support the smallholder farmers who are lacking in a way?
Well, as I said, there's nothing you're going to do without land. So you have to start from the first thing you do is through the land. And once you get the land, you clear the land. If you need seed to plant, you approach the Ministry of Agriculture. If you know where you want to sell some of this produce after harvesting, there's a place in Ministry of Agriculture also that can lead you to the market where you can sell this. And if you want to store it, because there's something we call commodity trading. See, agriculture is very broad. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to know the nitty-gritty of going to the farming through the cutlass or through the hoe. Some people will farm, some people will add value, which is what they call production. Some people will just deal with the marketing of some of this production. And some people will be interested in exporting. Even the youth can even take advantage of exporting of this thing. And some people can go into the commodity trading by buying this thing when it's very plenty, like now, especially when the rain comes, we have some of the farm produce in abundance. Some people will store it, and when the rainy season is over, they bring it inside and make double. These are the middlemen. They make a lot of money out of this. So there are so many extensions of farming.
But how do you support them to adopt modern farming techniques? You were talking about technology here, and many of them are ignorant of this. So how is government planning to support them, adopt these modern techniques? Farming has come to become a very simple thing for anybody to do. Gone are the days where you have to go through the rigorous exercise of putting farm together. Technology has made it very easy. But talking about all these smallholder farmers who do not have access, how do you encourage them to, embrace these modern techniques so that we'll not have people growing older than their actual age in terms of maybe when they do farming or agriculture?
Well, that's why I say there's this thing we call modern agriculture, maybe mechanizations. And we have weapons in our hands, but we don't use it. There's something we call dome. If you go to parties now, you see some of these cameramen using this dome to capture the area, the environment. At the same time, some farmers use this in other countries to control what they do in their farm. It's like an area monitoring and the technology. So it's not only for camera, it's not only for capturing. You can use you can sit down where you are and be controlling through your, as I said, most of these young people, they have this equipment that they don't have to go and buy again. What they need is just data. That is, if they have a farm, they can control when to wet and when to plant, and to see even if there's theft in their farms. This is still part of the technology. And as I said, mechanization is the key. And that is why I said the government is investing on some of these bulldozers and tractors, so that you don't have to use your cutlass and hoe to go into the farming. Because by the time you use tractors, you know how many acres of land that you can plow in a day, instead of just leaving it for the old existence farming, like using cutlasses and hoe.
Okay, thank you so much. And I want to, take us back a bit to private partnership approach to improving food security. But before you take that question from me, we'll quickly go for this short break. When we return, the program continues. It's the Roundtable on OGTV. Join us again.
Food security is inevitable. One way or the other, we need to secure ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves. We cannot continue to import everything. We must feed ourselves. Domestic planting is good. You don't need to be a professional farmer before you can feed yourself. And all will be well.
Government cannot provide food for everybody. They are to provide enabling environment for people to grow food. We all have land everywhere, in our house, in our village, everywhere possible. If you try to cultivate that land to produce what we can consume, not what we can sell, the cumulative effect of it will bring the prices of food down. You grow your own food, I grow mine. I won't buy your own, you won't buy my own. The few people that cannot grow, when we have surplus in the market, the price will come down. In my house, for instance, in my compound, I don't buy pepper, I don't buy tomato. I go to Agric in Ashero, buy seedlings, put it there. I don't have to stay in the sun or rain with those crops. All I need to do is to do a little bit of farm management, and they will grow. If rain continues like this, I might be tempted to start planting my own maize for my household consumption and for a few people that I want to share it with. So issue of people blaming government for food scarcities, for a price of food high, is a misplaced priority. It is our responsibility, just like if you want to go naked and say government cannot provide you clothing. Must government clothe you? If you need clothes, you have to work to get money to buy clothes and clothe yourself if you don't want to go naked. If you don't want to go hungry and don't want to be starved, we need to look for what we are going to eat. It's not going to market, it's not going to asking government to come out. All these palliative are, according to the name, palliative is for interim measures. The permanent measure is to everybody. Look at our surroundings. If you put cassava here, it will grow with or without farm management. So we should stop this blame game and look inward to ourselves. What can I do to alleviate my suffering? What can you do to alleviate your suffering? Something here means that you don't have to go and buy food. Something you can grow and feed yourself. If I harvest my tomato and pepper, am I bringing it to your house? No. I take it to our kitchen, grind it, make stew, make whatever you want. It's our food.
It is for everybody to get involved in the food security. We shouldn't wait for farmers again, because there are actually no farmers in Nigeria. Everybody should be farming now. Like the available space that we have, we should use it to cultivate food for us, because it's a global problem, it's a global phenomenon that there's food scarcity, there's food shortage, and it is because we are being lazy about food now. So with this being put to front burner, all of us will get serious and know that we do not want to grow hungry. So food production or food processing, even processing of food too, should be added to our knowledge, that we should grow our food and preserve it very well, so that we will not be hungry in the whole world.
Yes, glad to have you join us again, and you heard it from our contributors there. You know that they say, like a slogan of former President Muhammadu Buhari, let's grow what we eat. You know, adequate food security requires everybody's effort, and that has been, you know, the slogan in the lips of everyone now. Let us all try and put in an effort and making sure that we are able to achieve adequate food security. Yes, we say thank you so much to our contributors there. Then going forward, I was talking about, before we went for that short break, we're talking about private sector involvement and international partners that, you know, you have spoken to what the state and federal government has so far done. But are there successful models, yes, talking about international partners from other countries that you think you could advise, you know, considering your experience, that Nigeria can as well, you know, adopt or learn from in terms of improving food security in Nigeria?
As I said earlier on, the government cannot do everything. If the churches can organize themselves and have that millions followers, I see no reason why millions of Nigerians cannot organize themselves to be able to feed themselves. The land is there. I remember in the olden days, every child must know how to grow maize or beans. By the time it's germinating, you get fascinated. In fact, when I was coming down now, I saw some children going to schools that I saw they were carrying the stem of cassava. I have to start. I said, what are you doing with this stem of cassava? They said they asked them to bring it to school. To do what? They said they wanted to plant it. We have to catch them when young. We need to encourage them so that by the time they get to the adult stage, they'll be able to decide either to take farming as a business or as a hobby. Back to what you just asked me. Yes, private participation is the only way to go out, because the government does not have any business to be in the business of agriculture. All what they need to provide is an enabling environment. And I believe the government of today, both in the Ogun State and federal government, are trying all their possible best to provide the enabling environment. Is it to provide the land? Is it to provide the equipment? Is it to provide...
Not with input?
With input.
Yes.
Even with fertilizers. Recently, the federal government are just giving out fertilizer as if they are giving out cookies through the state government, through the local governments. So it's not left to the citizens not to sit down and expect the government to do everything. You expect the government to come and feed you in your own house. You are having about 6 children, and none of it is into farming. If those 6 children grow up and they don't know anything about agriculture, they will produce also, even if it is just 2 FM, that's about 12. The population is growing. But what are we doing as a citizen to be able to feed our family? Just like the commentators have said that, yes, everybody should go into farming. If you don't have a large farm, you can start from your backyard. They call it backyard farming here, but in advanced country they call it family farming. Because family farming is where you and your children can be able to go and wet that tomatoes for it to germinate. Everybody is going to eat it. See, we are taking so many things for granted. And if we give some of our children the opportunity They do better than us. But some of them are already hooked with all this iPhone. What do they do with it? WhatsApp, Facebook, and there's so many information of this thing that could help us through the farming processing, especially to beat all this climate problem that we're having. Either you know when it's going to rain, or when to wet your stuff, or when to harvest. Everything, if you Google anything you want now, if you Google, if it gives you the information is there. But we, our children, the citizens are not going to use that. Always we use it for either for WhatsApp or TikTok or whatever.
Okay, I've taken family farming.
So in agriculture, we know all the things you have been saying, they are key. But there is another key factor that we're facing in this nation, and that is insecurity. You know, conflict has displaced many farmers that they cannot even have access to their farmlands anymore. They cannot do what they used to do, and this is causing poverty because someone that is farming as a livelihood and now cannot even farm again. What do you want such person to do to survive? So what is government really doing? And let's just talk about Ogun State now before you extend it to the country, because recently a video goes viral where we see herders uprooting cassava in somebody's farm and feeding their frogs with it, and this is very, very bad, and it's even wicked, it's cruel. Someone that has labored, toiled and everything, time to harvest, they now come with their cows and uproot cassavas, give to their cows to eat. What do we do about this? Insecurity is really hitting deep into agricultural sector.
I understand everything you are saying, but those videos you are seeing, they are old videos.
Okay.
I can testify to records. I appear in other medium of televisions also that we already brought this issue. And if you remember when I started there, I said we should be grateful to the present government we have both in the state and the federal that security in the country have been improved.
Okay.
We have not been able to see such thing again where the herders just go into people's farm and roll out their cow to eat the grass. No, there's a lot of improvement. Even in Ogun State recently, our governor, Prince Abiodun, when he initiated this Amotekun, it's purposely to help farmers. And it's so safe, security, is to help farmers. There was an incident, I think it was last month, along the Odogbolu area, where this Amotekun arrested some people that are kidnapping people. This is part of the measures that the government are putting in place to be able to share that these people are being secured. So in terms of security, I think I have to give it to the government that they're really improving compared to what we have before. To about 2 years ago, when was the last time you heard about much of kidnapping in Ogun State? It's been a history.
It's an ongoing effort.
Yeah, come on. So we have to give it to the government that they are trying possible, but they are human beings too.
So farmers can go.
They can go to the farm and farm with peace, with a rest of mind.
No kidnapping, no killing.
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's quickly take this question because our time is fast spent, and I'm going to have 3 questions roll into one. Yes, firstly, I want to look at the future outlook and recommendations. That is talking about, most practical short and long-term solutions of Nigeria food security challenges. What do you think should be done? Secondly, in your own opinion, what does the future of food security in Nigeria look like in the next 10, 20 years? And lastly, I want you to actually round it up by giving a message to key stakeholders, policymakers, farmers and Nigerians, regarding food security. It requires everybody's effort. So I want you to go from here.
I will start from the future of the food security in the country. I say the future is very bright with what I'm seeing now, because the president, Ahmed Tinubu, have given a standing order to all the state governors that whatever is going to take, go and feed your own people. It's all over the news. And immediately the Southwest governor, what did they do? They went to the closed-door meeting, all the governors, call all the commissioner for agriculture that, no, this is the order from the president that we should be able to feed our people. And you can see that some of the governors are doing their best to bring some of this equipment for them to have an enabling environment to their farmers. Yes, in the nearest future, I think the future is very bright. And it's left for the citizens to tap into it. As I said, the government cannot do everything. We need to support the government. It's not the government that is hungry. It's we, the citizens, that are hungry. What is the other question?
Okay. Now we're talking about now you are going to let's talk about solution. Like we've said something now that everybody should go to farm, But let's look at long and short term approach. Technology will come in, we have to encourage people, sensitize people, support people, but you have not even really emphasized the need to. Farming is also capital intensive, talking about the need to, like somebody that is going into livestock farming now, you don't expect them to just go to their backyard and start livestock farming, talking about poultry, fishery and all of that. It requires funding to do all this. So what would be the long and short term approach in terms of solution to improving food security?
I think the short term for everybody is to go into the family farm, as I said. If you're able to feed your nucleus family, you take the rest to the market. Yes, as I said, the government cannot do everything. If you want to do business, apart from agriculture, do you run to the government all the time? Agriculture is a business. If you want to grow food, you want to go out and sell it. You should be able to provide your capital. You know where to approach if you want to start a maybe tailoring business or other businesses. You go to the bank, you go to the family, you go to your friends. It's when you started there, the government can say, oh, yes, we can support you with what you have. But you have to even kickstart your business before you can. Even you go to the bank today, they will ask for your feasibility studies. What's your business plan? They don't just give you money. So the same thing with agriculture, especially agriculture is very risky. And the profit margin of agri-produce is plus minus 10%. There's not much profit, but the more you're able to do, the more profit you'll be able to make. So it's left to you and myself that how do we approach this thing? Because we keep on saying government. Is government going to run the business that they are not supposed to run and be giving capital to all the businesses? The tailoring is there, the caterer is there, all kind of stuff.
Okay, final one for me. Yes, you are saying something about people should, if I get it right, people should think of their capital. But government is also talking about grants for this, grant for that, and helping or supporting people financially. There are the Bank of Industry. There are a lot of, these grants that are available to people. I want to know, I'm curious, are they giving it to the right people? Because if a farmer is able to access grants like it is available with government, I'm looking at a misplaced priority. Are you saying government is not thinking about who should be beneficiary? Are they giving it to the right people?
I'm not saying the government should not really intervene. Even I know much about Bank of Industry. Bank of Industry will not just give you money. They only give money to people that are producing, that are adding value to any farm produce. They will not just, and they need your business plan before they can give you. Have you been to this business? Give me your 3 or 5 years plans before they can give you. The same thing with Bank of Agriculture. Bank of Agriculture will not just give you money without able to say that you have your farmland. Why are they going to give you a soft loan or a grant when you don't have a farm? And that is why the government comes in. They give you go to the Ministry of Agriculture, they give you land, then you can call the Bank of Agriculture to come and clear it for you. Then you need some money to buy some of these inputs. Then by the time you produce and you harvest, then you go to Bank of Industry. Bank of Industry only give you money for equipment. So people are really mixing it. Bank of Agriculture, their role is totally different. Bank of Industry, their roles are totally different. The government roles are totally different. So these are 3 government entities. What about we, the citizen? Where do we fall in?
Okay, one last question from me because of time. I just want to digress a bit because we've been talking agriculture and everyone feels maybe it's for male gender now, and we know that women are also into agriculture. We have some women that are into agriculture. Is there any empowerment for women in
Especially.
agriculture, especially
Yes,
because we are
especially
special
for women,
beings.
we are special beings.
And you'll be surprised that 60% of agri-produce are being produced by women.
Let's clap for ourselves.
I'm being honest with that. And there are so many grants are being given to them by some of these lawmakers that are women, that are very passionate about women. And the same thing with government, through the women interventions. There are so many. You just have to go to the right place and get the right information that you need.
Okay,
Right, that's
and,
a
that's the size of the program today. I know that to an extent from what I'm able to get from your point there, family farming, we call it backyard farming. Why not just let us come together as a family and think about what we can do for ourselves? And you know, the country will be better in terms of food security and will grow. Yes, thank you for being part of the show today, Prince. And it's nice having you. Your contribution is well noted, and I know people have learned one or two things from what you have said today. From me, Morenikeji Shobalojo, it's bye-bye on the show. And Doinsola.
Bye till next week. Doinsola Ogunbadewa is my name.